So then, fellas, football came home.
Football did come home.
Technically.
Yeah. No, it came home. It came home. England are in possession of a major international trophy.
The curse is broken.
And they won it at Wembley.
An England badge on the kit, that's how I see it. I think it counts.
There's 3 lines on the shirt. Dreams were made, still dreaming.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
What do you think? Quality wise, in terms of like,
Finish, England
did you
goal.
like getting like proper feel like that you really wanted us to score, like you do with like a.
I don't really do that with England, so.
If you watched last week's,
Yeah, of course, it was England in a final.
I was proper on the edge of my seat with it.
When that first England goal is a fantastic finish.
Yeah, both of them.
Both the goals.
Getting in the right position.
Germany's goals.
Both the goals in normal time were great goals.
Germany's goal, they're like right back, just knocked it past about 5 of our players.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
To get through.
And then just like played it through. It was some beautiful finish as well.
Some great play.
I think you've got to look at the big statement here. Is Wembley sold out? Yeah, it was the main game on the day. They've won it. They've brought it home. I think hopefully you'll see a lot of funding go into the sport now. I think they also need to make the funding a bit more accessible. Where you look at men's football and the grassroots and the whole men's football hits a lot of types of people, right? And I think that's where women's football needs to go now.
Yeah.
Let's really diversify it and unify it and pump the money into
this
grassroots.
has definitely done a lot for women's
I feel like it's bigger than just winning the Euros.
I think that's
this is monumental.
This has done
going
so
forward.
much for women's football in the sense that everyone. I couldn't name one England women's player probably like. Although I could name like a Steph like Houghton or something. Now like I feel like my knowledge of like England like women players and sort of like where they play, there's so much about them now. They've almost become like personalities. They become characters themselves.
Yeah, Leah Williamson in particular.
Leah Williamson's always playing like a Jack Grealish role.
The way she speaks, some of the interviews like she's done, I think, are fantastic points. You hear her talk about why do people pretend it doesn't exist. If you don't like it, don't bother with it. And if you do like it, get behind it.
I feel like going forward, even like attendances, crowd, and just everything in general is just going to start getting bigger. And a lot of people that are watching this, a lot of younger, girls around the country as well, will probably want to get more involved. And
the only thing I would say on that is that the football federations need to be clever. In Germany, their women's games, they play them at the same time as their men's games. Why try and compete? Let's share it, because some of those top flight games in Germany get less than 1,000 people, and that's just poor. It's because of poor planning. I think it almost needs to be a lot of men's games on a Saturday, and the Sunday is the Women's Super League, especially so we can separate this attendance and like you say, grow these crowds, give people no excuse to not get behind it.
Okay, so like the big push now from Premier League teams, a lot of Premier League clubs tweeted out after the final saying, get yourself down to the women's game. Sure, Alex Scott saying, get yourself down, Ian Wright. Would you go to a Wolves female game if it was a Saturday and Wolves weren't playing at home? £10 average ticket, by the way, for an adult.
The only thing I would say is that when I don't go to a Wolves game, I tend to go to one of the local sides around here already. So it would be slightly different. And personally, Wolves play at a low level in the women's comparison.
Right.
So if I would go in to watch the WSL, which is an elite standard of sport played by elite athletes, then yes, I'd consider it. Because what you've got to say is, even down to Vanarama North, I would class those men as elite athletes playing at an almost elite standard. Right. I don't think the divisions in women's football are developed enough yet to demand people go and watch their equivalent in the Championship, their equivalent in the League One.
To be fair, it is an awkward one, because even with the men's game, you have these major tournaments and these players become massive icons for the country. But as soon as the season starts again, all sort of quietens down. Yeah. So that happens in the men's game. So in the women's game, you sort of got to expect it. It's not going to rapidly yet. I feel like this is just a start.
It's a major step forward.
It's good to make the start. Yeah. But I don't know what the answers are to encourage more, but it can't just be expected that it's normal to love England in a major tournament and not be obsessed about club football even in the men's game.
So one question then, I know it could be daft why this annoys me. Lionesses, what do we think? I think they're free lions.
You know what? I had this debate the other day in my house. I said why we call them the Lions. I know it's their own identity, but I'll just call them the Lions.
But I personally don't think they should.
It's the female
I think
game,
by calling them the Lionesses, they separate it further. It should all be the Lions, and then
treat
you
them
just
the
get
same,
behind England, whoever's playing. When the 23s play, that's still England. We don't call them the Cubs.
Call them the young
You're
lions.
the young lions. Yeah, the young lions. That's a Twitter hashtag, though, isn't it? It's like there's not 3 Cubs on the shirt, is it? It's 3 lions on the shirt. If you wear that England shirt, you are a lion. If that's what we're going to personify it as.
And you know what's quite cool actually, I saw the other day as well, the top 3 European attendances so far in 2022 have all been women's games. 2 were Barcelona at the Nou Camp, which was about 96,000, and obviously the game of the weekend, which was about 87,000 or something.
That's fantastic, but again, I think you look at that Euros and some of the score lines early on. I accept in the men's tournaments there's thrashings as well, but I think the whole community has to work now to make that a really competitive field. You know, that Barcelona side.
It's World Cup next year as well.
That Barcelona side have been absolutely destroying teams in that Spanish league, and I appreciate we've got Man City and Liverpool in the men's game, but I think the way to get
Chelsea as well dominate quite a
get
bit.
women's football the respect it needs, and they desire. With the federations and the FA and you,
It's interesting you say this, right? Because there was a thing on the radios. There obviously last few days on the radio they've been doing loads of reflection on it and how they take it further. I think it was Emma Hayes, Chelsea boss,
yeah, great.
came
She's
out
fantastic.
and said she thinks that the FA needs to give up control of the Women's Super League because right now the FA are in control, unlike the Premier League, which is like run as its own entity.
Yeah.
Because she thinks if it was run on its own or ran by a company, got its own sponsor and whatever, there'd be a way more
franchise it.
Yeah, franchise it like they do in the Prem. They'd be able to make so much more money out of it, which I'd say is true because you look at the money the Prem brings in compared to the EFL, and they're 2 separate entities. I mean,
The big thing is, though, with the Women's Super League is like the Premier League's like the men's Premier League has come on so far in like recent years is like the pure quality of every single player that plays. The Women's Super League, I don't know whether like people realise this, but that England team that played, those are like the superstars of the game. Those are the world class players.
I think that links with
when you go. You have them scattered around the few big WSL teams, but obviously dropping down even in the same league, you don't have that quality.
But I think that links with Harry's point though, in the sense that the women's football to the FA would have only been the FA's priority when they're in a major. Now the FA will be looking to the next thing. If we give it to something independent and we say and give it their priority, this is when the work begins to say we can't just have 5 superstars in this league. It has got to be like the Premier League where 12 can beat first.
Well, the problem is, like, from a football club perspective, the football clubs would have been looking at it, especially when women's football started proper. There was a 2015 World Cup where it was in Canada, I think it was, and quite a bit of interest was built. Obviously England lost in the semi-final then, but that was the massive urge, and then Phil Neville came along and they went to the Euros or World Cup again. I can't really remember exactly, so I'm not going to go out and say it, but there was a massive thing about football clubs weren't making any money from pumping money into the women's side. Aston Villa wouldn't make money from pumping money into the women's side because they weren't getting enough tickets, there weren't enough TV coverage, there's not enough interest. Now with this massive generation of interest, which the Euros will bring, as you say, the superstar players are scattered around. Like Alex Greenwood has been at United, City and Liverpool. And there's quite a few who've done a similar thing. I think Lucy Bronze has done the same as well.
She's done the European big
boys.
Well, yeah,
I'm pretty sure Lucy Bronze has won it all.
Yeah.
But these clubs are going to start. The aim will be to make a profit or an income that they're putting in, because it's basic business. You're not going to pump hundreds of millions of pounds into something if you're not going to get anything back.
Yeah,
Simple as.
They got to ride
the quality or no quality. These businessmen, a lot of them foreign, aren't going to buy into this whole British thing that we're all trying to be great people and trying to we stand for equality here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Because if they're not making money, they're not going to put the money in, and that's what this Euros will do.
Yeah. Well, it's like when the Olympics is on, when we do well, there's so many stats that will show you a massive spike in participation and things like that. And it is now 100%. The time on this spike, grow the game, double it, triple it in size. Like you say, get more external people in, get more money and get more value in. Yeah. Then when it grows, I don't think the argument we're looking at the minute is equality in a sexist way. We're looking at let's grow it. We've got to make women's football bigger.
Getting women to start liking football, and I think that starts
participation
rates.
That
starts at a younger age.
This generation they've hooked now.
I'd say when we were growing up, I can't really remember girls doing football in PE that often. I think it was one of those things that they do on like an odd day where there's no curriculum going on. So it was mainly netball.
The female teacher's off, so the male teacher teaches.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, when you look at it back at school, really, because Ian Wright said that, didn't he, on TV the other day? You do look and you think the way the girls and boys were separated in sports was literally the same throughout all years. Like, we did one thing, the girls did the other. You never really did the exact same unless it came to athletics, really. You know what I mean?
You're really bad, you're like set up. Right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, it never changed, did it really at all?
No.
Right, I've got we'll kind of touch on the last thing. I've got a question then. So we look at the manager of England. Is it Weigman, however you kind of say her name, however you choose?
Yeah.
Obviously, won it with the Netherlands 2017, then won it with us. She's unbeaten in the Euros. She won it twice in a row, which is unbelievable. So you look, she's a foreign manager. She's got good.
I'm pretty sure before the tournament started, that England side, since she'd been in charge, had scored 70 goals, and she only took over last summer. Which, when you look at that, it's just like incredible.
Well,
I know the difference in talent.
I think you know where I'm leading on to. I think leading it onto the men's team, Southgate. If we don't do much at the World Cup this year, is it time we look at a foreign manager over an English? Because personally, I'm thinking maybe it's time we go for a proper.
I think it's the way forward.
Try and go for a tactical, experienced manager.
Like, when you think an English manager,
he's a different breed.
Never even won the Premier League. So if you're sticking in a pool of English managers, really, what is that? You aren't getting none of the England are one of the biggest nations in the world. Like, if you compare them to a top 6 team in England, they're not going to hire an English manager, are they?
The problem is it hasn't worked. Like, it proves in the pudding.
Sven Goran wants a foreign manager.
Sven Goran Eriksson came in and he had all the talent in the world.
Yeah, but
and he couldn't do it.
Is that still down to the manager?
Capello came in, mate, when he... Got to remember what Capello's done in the game. He won everything with Milan. Champions League, Serie A's. They got him in. They did exactly what we're saying now. Yeah. It'd be like us going out and getting Conte or someone in charge now. Or Pep. And it didn't work. It's just... You got to think language barrier. You got to think buying in. Yeah, Weigman's done incredible with the woman. You can't knock that, and it proves the point that you're arguing. So there's always an argument for it.
What I say is, how would you get behind it? Like, you think when there's a major tournament on, our song is about It's Coming Home. We've gone to tournaments with players who should be nowhere near winning the World Cup. You could roll me out, Crouchy and Defoe out of retirement, and tell me they're going to start for England in the World Cup, and I'll still tell you it's coming home. And the gaffer has to understand that pressure and that feeling. Okay. And there's not a chance of foreign.
I think Capello. It's not about the manager back in the sort of early 2000s. It's about the FA setup above them. And I feel quite strongly about that it's just employing yes men at the moment, whether that's Gareth Southgate's one, Capello, and that would probably one. I know that Sven did City, didn't he? But that was a very you get Jose Mourinho managed United, Chelsea, Spurs,
Inter, Porto.
Yeah, but these English teams, he knows the English game very well. He's going to have worked with these English players, a lot of English players before.
The thing is, I'd say as well,
Englishman.
I thought the English team now is so different to back in the day. Before, they were too much clubs, individuals. They didn't really mix. Now, I feel like you've seen it before in the World Cup, the Euros last year. When they get together in the camp, the team is so good now. I feel like all it needs is just that little extra push. I don't know.
This is wrong. This is so wrong. England need an English manager. I feel strongly about that, and I personally think most of the major nations should be managed by their own country.
Let's not act like we're weird for having an English manager for an English club. Portugal, Portuguese, German,
it should be
French, 100%. Deschamps. Spain, Enrique, they all. It is a normal thing to have.
I'm supporting England at that tournament, and for me, that goes all the way through, including the gaffer. And I'm not saying it's necessarily Southgate's the right bloke, but the England manager for me should be English. It might sound old-fashioned, but I think that's the best way to do it. It's English spirit and it's English heart that goes to this tournament. That's what needs to be part of it. You need an Englishman to understand the suffering. You need someone to care. And you need someone to, you almost need the person to understand that we're rubbish at penalties.
Right, and we're going to find this over the years. Right, for example, at one point we got Big Sam in. And at that time...
For the whole 2 weeks he was there.
At that time, you could argue he was the best English option. We're not blessed with a massive sea of brilliant English managers. What? Who's the Premier League English manager now? We've got Gerrard, Potter,
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe.
Potter would tell me now.
I think
Potter,
Graham,
you don't
I
believe
would
Potter
take
do
Graham
great
Potter.
things.
Yeah, I think Potter great. Whatever.
I respect
but he's
that
not an
man a lot.
elite
Can I
manager.
say about your point? Yeah,
Right, you look at the-
I personally think it I think it should be a rule that like, your manager has to be your nation, like the players are. But it's not a rule, so I don't get why we aren't exploiting that. Yeah, like these other countries are, but fair enough, they can do that. It's, like, we don't have to have an English manager. It's like,
It'll be if we don't win the World Cup this year. I mean, I don't really think we will. But if we don't, I think Southgate will part ways.
I
I
think
think
maybe
we'll
that's a
get
bit harsh
sacked.
if we don't win it. Maybe if we crash out in the round of 16.
I think that this is
Oh,
third tournament. I don't.
how many managers do
I'm
three
convinced.
major, more than
Yeah,
three?
I
major
think he
tournaments?
goes. To be honest, I think he goes regardless.
he'll
I think he
leave.
wins
I think he'll
it.
just
He's
leave.
always
Yeah.
talked. He's always talked about how he's not going to outlast this stay. I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah.
a humble enough man that if we had a bad tournament, or even if we didn't win it, he would maybe say,
I think
"Look,
he'll
I've
leave.
took this team as far as I can." They've got to remember they call English manager the hardest job in world football because the scrutiny you're under
Yeah.
Press
is
yeah.
like heavy. I mean, it drove Graham Taylor nearly into retirement, and he was like a top manager. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
Do
to
you honestly
see.
think though you could watch England and be as connected and as behind it? You know,
I've got to be more
let's
connected.
change Southgate. You're the one. You know, we change that to Conte. You're the one.
Right,
It's
yeah, no,
rubbish.
I know what you're
It's
saying.
I
rubbish.
agree because I always say I want an English manager, and obviously we've got Southgate. But just changing the manager, I'm not suddenly going to be like, oh no, it's still 11 English players on the pitch just because we haven't got a different manager.
Yeah,
I don't
it's-
care who it is. If one of them, whoever it is, takes us to a World Cup or a Euros, like they have just done
But
this week.
it's international football. The whole
Yeah.
point of it is it's the best of your nation. And if the best of our nation isn't a manager like your Conte's and Guardiolas of the world, that's what our nation is. And you go to that World Cup with the best of what's available to you, and teams, Denmark, they won a tournament with the best of what was available to them. And that's what international football should be. That's why we've had the same teams as the greats for so long. Because you can't buy people, you can't bring people in. That's what makes us so proud when we do achieve something. Because everything about it has come from our country.
Didn't
And that should be the manager too.
I mean, Southgate did get an OBE, didn't he, or something, as MBs, whatever it was. When
give them out like
They
that.
give them quite easy these days.
They loved it when we got to semis. They were like, right,
Harry's
award.
getting one next year.
It'll be interesting to see. I guess it'll just be a time will tell situation, won't it?
Yeah.
Okay then. So in the past week, transfer-wise, obviously transfer window's still open till the end of August now.
Somebody tell the
Chelsea-
Wolves. Someone tell Wolves that.
Yeah. Chelsea seem to be having a right run around with Barcelona, who seemingly went into this transfer window with no money.
I'd say Barcelona
Now-
have taken Chelsea for a runner.
Yeah, well, you know, it looked nailed on that Chelsea at Koundé. Things are looking up. They got Koundé Koulibaly to replace a Rudiger hole, and then Koundé gets swept from absolutely nowhere.
So sorry, one little tangent. Sevilla sold both their centre backs this summer. Is that they not lost 6-0 to Arsenal pre-season?
It's not looking great for them, is it?
Yeah, but obviously we don't like say talking about that.
But yeah, Chelsea, and then breaking news today, they've signed Carney Chuckwuemeka from Aston Villa for £20 million.
We have robbed them.
An 18-year-old who has never played 90 minutes for Villa, and when he has come on, has looked
He's looked like he's
all
looked
right,
all
at
right.
best. Not
but-
one of
Well,
those
he's
talents at
18,
18 where you think they're going to go right to the very
You know,
top.
I actually think it's sad to see, because I actually feel the market now is just gone.
Just
It's
bash
gone
20
forever,
million
isn't it?
'cause he's
I mean,
18.
An 18-year-old for 20 million is just outrageous, really, isn't it? I mean, it sounds stupid, but where does it end? Where does it end? If he's 20 million, you look at other players. How far are the top players at the game?
That should be going for
for
5 million.
I think the big thing was he had a good under 19s Euros, was it,
Yeah.
for England, and obviously the top scout's going to be watching that tournament.
Marvin Sordell went to the Olympics in
20
2012.
million.
He was retired
20
about
million.
5 years after.
No, yeah, obviously I don't think I think
No.
we absolutely robbed them.
I don't know who's in charge of transfers, but knight him.
But the big story was he was our up and coming talent through the academy. He wanted 100 grand a week.
Well,
that was
reported.
that was reported how much he wanted. Gerrard has clearly said not having any of that. He left him at home on the pre-season tour. Rightly so.
Yeah.
Barcelona were linked with him, fully enough, and then Chelsea have ended up getting him.
Then the boss remembered Louis Barry and thought, oh, we've seen these
Yeah,
Villa kids. We've seen these Villa kids, these Midlands kids.
Yeah.
So basically, he's gone to Chelsea. He wants the higher wages.
But the whole
he's not
thing,
going to get paid.
you know, there's this whole
Paid
thing about
isn't
how he was not happy about his game time. I'm sorry, youngsters at Chelsea do not work. They had the only ones that have were when they had the transfer ban. Completely
And-
luck of the draw.
Tamori
Tamori Abraham were gone in the first window that they could go.
Carney Chuckwuemeka this season doesn't play at Chelsea, under 23s. Next season, Vitesse on loan,
Yeah.
Fulham on loan, Crystal Palace on loan.
Released.
Yeah.
End up at left back at some like Reading or something like that. But yeah, no. Chelsea. What do you think about this whole Barcelona thing they got with the blow away?
The Barcelona
do you reckon
thing-
do you reckon there's a what's the right word?
Corruption.
Not corruption, I don't know, but like, do you reckon there's something like
Fraud.
Barcelona taking a bit of the piss there?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
because
100%.
Barcelona are so valuable to La Liga. The La Liga have got to be like, sort of just allow it.
Barcelona know that league doesn't exist without them, so they're going to push this as far as they can until it gets serious. And by signing players like Lewandowski, they're just getting.
You want to know why I disagree with you? Because, and I actually have a bit of respect for La Liga. La Liga's biggest asset, Lionel Messi. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Branding rights, whatever. People would watch La Liga just to watch Lionel Messi. If I'm sat downstairs, I've got nothing to watch. I'm scrolling through, and there's Juve versus Roma or Barcelona versus Elche, and Messi's playing. I'm probably going to watch Barcelona. The problem was, obviously, they couldn't register him for his wages or whatever. If they were going to break La Liga, if La Liga were going to crumble, it would have been them. They would allow. I thought they would really thought they were going to allow Messi to register for Barca and ignore the financial fair play. The fact they didn't, and they actually allowed their biggest asset to go in to maintain fairness in the league, that shocked me.
But since Messi's gone, they've done the most ludicrous deal ever, where they've sold a quarter of their TV rights for 25
It's
years.
like a football manager when you go through like selling all those like random clauses to try and make a bit
Their
more money.
business.
like-
Can we got to acknowledge this. Barcelona's business over the last 5 years, I'd say, has been absolutely
Yeah,
shambolic.
diabolic. Coutinho was a big one.
Coutinho spent way too much money. Usman Dembele's been a travesty. Griezmann didn't work. I mean, that's 300 odd million
Is
just
Lewandowski
there.
registered with him yet or not?
I'm not sure. I think they're
They're
Is it
selling,
they have
they're
to
selling
sell-
a few. Pieg's on his way.
Yeah.
Mendoza, or whatever his name is, he's just gone. I think they're trying to ship the pie out.
But like Aubameyang, what?
Yeah.
You know what is it with these old players they're bringing in? I thought when Xavi was going to come in, he'd bring his whole youth to Barcelona, get a team built from the bottom up again.
Spanish
That
core.
Aranjo is meant to be quite good,
Yeah.
the centre half. Gavi, who played for Spain in the Euros. You know, I thought he was going to build his team around. But what are you doing? I mean, Lewandowski, I'm not doubting he's one of the best strikers in the world.
But his
brilliant.
age.
But you're not going to get your best years out of him.
And how much they pay for him again?
40 million, I think. And then like Aubameyang.
Lewandowski's shirts,
Depay.
his shirts.
Yeah, that's a big thing with Barca at the moment. I get it. I get
Shirts.
it. It's a big thing. But come on, like
I'll tell you what I did see the other day though. Shirts like you don't actually make like clubs don't actually make like barely any money off that because they sell the rights to their shirt to the brand. Like Nike will be paying Barcelona like 100 million, etc.
Yeah, but
And
I
they
saw that
get
as
the
well.
they get the product.
But
from
Nike will still be happy with getting that from Barcelona. There's still win-win for both club and the company.
Yeah, but with the players, if Barcelona sign the players, it's not going to make a difference to them how many shirts they sell because that money's going straight to the kit supplier.
moving back onto Chelsea. So what are we actually thinking this season for them?
Probably fifth.
Because obviously, you know, Tuchel's came in, he won the Champions League. They were by no means the best team in Europe that season.
I think
They've
be
lost their
fighting
best
top
centre
four.
half, and they've missed out on key targets. Werner looks like he could be off as well. What we thinking?
Top four. They'll be
Well,
fine.
I think
Nah,
you look
fifth.
at that end of the season they've had as well. That was poor. They were a poor side. I think Mount hit a cold patch. He's arguably
Lost
been
two
in the,
finals.
arguably been in the cold patch for a while. Lost 2 finals. Didn't score a goal in either. Neither did the winning side actually. But you
Not the
know,
penalties.
they're a team probably in a bad place. And I think the issue of Chelsea is summed up. You look at, we've mentioned Tomori, we've mentioned Abraham. It's the exact same story now with this Colwill. The kid who every bottom 10 Premier League club wants him. And they're just going to send him they want to send him in this Brighton deal with Cucurella without even looking at him. Give these players a chance.
We haven't even mentioned Lamptey. One of those sought after right backs in a couple of seasons.
Stop battling with Barcelona. If you've got these kids here, that transfer ban could have been a blessing. They could have now developed Tomori and Abraham over a course of 3 seasons.
This is the thing. A lot of clubs, they don't look at what they've got, or they just instantly look for the big names.
Yeah.
They play United do it a lot.
And they now want a centre back and they want a striker. You had them, and you've got Colwill, left-footed centre back. That is gold dust in the modern
That's
era.
probably, a lot of these big clubs now, they just think, all right, how can we improve? What big player can we get next to bring in? What big name? Half the time they've got them there sitting there. They just don't use
I
them.
saw a Chelsea fan tweet about their pre-season tour. They were giving minutes to Batshuayi.
Yeah.
Batshuayi hasn't worked. Ship him on and develop somewhere.
Do you reckon Conor Gallagher gets time?
Gallagher, I think Gallagher was the other name. They said Gallagher and Harvey Vale. I think
I hope so.
either didn't play or stayed with the 23s. What is the
I
point?
know Gallagher was
point?
definitely there because he had that horrific penalty where he tried to like Panenka it and scuffed it. It was a nightmare. But like Conor Gallagher went to Palace, did well at West Brom, was a solid player in a team that went down. If you're going to be a standout player in a team that goes down, means you're obviously got something about you. I remember Idrissa Gana Gueye did it when Villa went down. You could tell he was a better player in that squad. He'd gone on to Everton, PSG, But Conor Gallagher, he's gone to Palace after that, and not great player. Kind of fizzled out a bit at the end of the season, but he's a young guy. We can expect that. Is he ready to be starting a team that won the Champions League 2 seasons?
Well, whether Gallagher's ready or not, my question is where does he go? Chelsea don't have that sort of player, and this is the issue. You look at someone like Loftus-Cheek. I've watched Loftus-Cheek play centre half, wing back, centre mid, false nine, attack like an inside forward, and the striker. How is that developing him? He is just there as a squad player who's capable. And if Gallagher's not careful, Gallagher's got 3 months to get himself in a World Cup squad. Play games. You have to play games. And you have to play games in your role. Whatever role Gallagher wants to be.
And he's going to get that at most bottom 10 Premier
I'd,
League.
I would argue anywhere out the top
Get
5. I'd have him in a heartbeat. But anywhere out the top 5, Gallagher is easily first 5 names on the team sheet. You'd have Gallagher in there.
I mean, teams like Brighton, even like
he didn't have that very good second half of the season.
Yeah, we mentioned that he towards the second half he fizzled out a bit, but you can expect that from a young player. I think Ramsey did similar, if we're honest. I think Ramsey fizzled out towards the end as well. But you're not expecting the world from these guys returning 21, 22.
But sometimes this sounds daft, but sometimes that fizzling out could also be maturing. When you've gone to Palace, he's established himself with that first off. You never know what Vieira said to him. He might have said, "Look, we're pretty much safe here. Let's get these few points second half of the season." The points per game would have dropped because of what they picked up in the first half. So his role wouldn't have been to explode out of the middle as a risk and leaving a hole behind him. His role might have been to be more sensible.
Yeah, could easily happen. Well, obviously we're talking about Chelsea. It's going to be a right rumble for that top 7, top 8 positions. No, it's impossible to call really at this point. But what are you thinking? How do you think it's shaping up with 1 week to go?
Well, I think
it's going to be by the time this is out, the season will start.
Just first to 7.
Yeah,
we'll go round.
I'll just say it. So I'm gonna go City. Last week I said Spurs. I've watched the Charity Shield. I'm gonna go City, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal. Man United, Chelsea, Newcastle 7th.
Newcastle. To be fair, I wouldn't be challenging that massively. To be fair.
I accept Chelsea, Man United challenge. I accept that.
If I go do like mine, see, part of me now thinks that Liverpool, everyone sort of written them off a bit in pre-season. Actually, they sort of showed their quality.
That was a statement.
And it's quite like if Liverpool go on and I wouldn't necessarily I'm not going to say they are, but a little part of me does think it's this sort of City team that brought in some very good signings. But everyone knows in football that's not that simple. A Liverpool team that's played together for ages.
Yeah.
If Núñez just hits off, Liverpool just go and win.
Liverpool looked better with a 9 than City did.
Yeah. I don't think it's. I think City will still win the league just because I do think that's
So give us your 1 to 7 then. Give us your 1 to 7.
I don't think it will be. I also had City finishing top by a hell of a margin. I don't think it's going to be that margin anymore.
So 1 to 7.
But I'll still go City, Liverpool, Spurs, but that's just because of Carney. I don't actually think, apart from Kane and Son, I don't even think their signings have necessarily been world beaters. I've gone Arsenal 4th. I think people are sort of underestimating how good football they play, and another year of these players maturing, of a young squad maturing. Chelsea 5th, United 6th, and I originally did have Newcastle in 7th, but I think I'm going to go West Ham. I think West Ham is going to have another solid season like that.
Yeah, actually, I might change my Newcastle to West Ham.
I've gone for City title. I still didn't. I think they win it quite comfortably. So, not obviously Liverpool. It was an interesting game to watch, especially from the City point of view, just how poor they were. But I think just they're going to absolutely eat up the other 14 teams alive. And even at that, they'll beat United comfortably. And I could see them beating teams like Arsenal comfortably. Not because Arsenal are bad, not because United are bad. Well, they're not obviously not great at the moment. But these teams that try and play football, Liverpool, what they call it, rock and roll football, you know, rapid down the wing, Salah going down one wing, always used to be Mane going down the other. You could never blink. I don't think Pep liked playing against that. I don't think he ever did. His record against Klopp's poor. I think Klopp's one of the only managers who has a positive win record against Pep.
Probably Klopp and Nuno, isn't it?
Well, yeah. But this rock and roll football, they don't like it. The teams that Pep and City will eat alive are the ones that try and play football against them. Arsenal, oh my God, I can picture the car crash of them trying to play out the back against City. It's going to be a nightmare. Man United, you can see in pre-season, they're trying to play this tick-a-tack football now. When that's, we all seen that takes a few seasons to implement. Pep's first season with City was a prime example. Oh my God, it could be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're going to have more of an idea. But I just think that City side is going to beat 15 of those teams so badly, it's just going to take them over the line. Whereas I just think a few other teams could nick points against Liverpool, just because I think they could be caught, especially.
I think that's fair enough point.
I just think there's more. When you watch Liverpool play the other 14, I call them the other 14. I mean below the big six. I think it's more of a game.
Yeah, definitely. City will get 5.
I hate watching City against them. As a neutral, I hate watching City against Palace. Well, that's a shocking example because they beat Palace.
Do you know
what I mean now? Whereas if Liverpool are playing West Ham, I'm never too sure. If the West Ham playing City, I fancy.
I have much more confidence watching the Villa game.
So you're 1 to 7. City, Liverpool 1 and 2.
City, Liverpool 1 and 2. No, not Liverpool 2. I still think Spurs are going to have a really.
So you're
I think Spurs are going to win streets won't forget seasons. So and that's not anything against Liverpool. I think Spurs are just going to be really.
Streets won't forget season. They don't even win the league.
They go second.
No, but they're going to have some great.
Well, they've come third again.
City 1, Spurs 2.
Spurs 2, Liverpool 3rd. But I think the season will be over that early that it won't really matter. In terms of, Arsenal 4th. Chelsea 5th. I'm going to go that West Ham and Newcastle are going to finish with United.
I've gone the other way. I think it will either be United will get, I will put them 5th, or they will miss out. I think it goes, this Ten Hag thing either works, or it's going to be.
It could be a disaster.
It's going to be a really bad first transitional season.
I mean, look, they're still after a DM and the season starts on Saturday. They're like, I don't know.
Ronaldo, who knows what's going on.
No one knows what's happening with Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's a joke.
Anyway, what do you reckon?
Again, obviously the top two. My heart is obviously I'm back in Liverpool, and I still think we can. We've got the players, we've got the team. We showed up.
You did look very good.
Weekend, and I would not back us. Obviously, City do look good. I'm not giving it. I still think we can win it. I probably right now I maybe would sway towards City nicking it again just because of the signings they've made of Haaland and Phillips.
So come on then.
But
first
I
place.
do think it will take Haaland a few games to get into the Premier League.
Go on, say it, Aki.
No,
say it, Aki. Back yourself.
Liverpool, City.
No.
I've got.
Can we go back and put like Villa 6?
I've got a back. Liverpool, City, Spurs, Chelsea. I think Chelsea will get 4 just because they've played together now for a couple of years under Tuchel. I still think they've got it.
I think Tuchel could be one. I think Tuchel could be got.
I think Arsenal will get 5th. I think they'll play a lot better this year, but I still think they might narrowly miss out or be close.
Well, I think Arsenal, like Harry said, could slip up against some sides.
Yeah.
You don't fear Arsenal.
Then, they did it last season. They played really well. On the latter end of it, they started to slip up, didn't they? United, I think, will get 6th, and then 7th again. I know West Ham, Newcastle's thrown around. Maybe Newcastle again. They played very well the second half of the season. Well, they got into it with Eddie Howe. So yeah, I'll put Newcastle.
Anderson will be a huge signing as well.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the last section of the podcast. Obviously, the Premier League starts this week. So yeah, we're going to go through and do our predictions, and we're going to get a kind of score-based system to go along with it. Obviously, we're going to kind of model it around the way points are scored in the Premier League. So 3 points for a bang-on prediction. If I went with Liverpool 3-1 against Fulham this week, and it finishes like that, 3 points for myself. But if Liverpool win with a different scoreline, it's 1 point and 0 points for anything else. We subbed in James Batch. Not many of you, if any, will have seen him yet if you're not in complete knowledge of the 2 banks of 4. He's going to be here more regularly when people are off on holiday and stuff, and we'll get him in for a few anyway, just to be around. But yeah, Aki's not here next week, so you can get used to his face.
Make sure you tune in next week, guys.
And, and
Liverpool.
Adam Hilliard, who is a regular, usually sat there, and you're probably confused as to why he's just suddenly disappeared. He's a working man. He's gone to stack some shelves at Waitrose.
But he's left us in his
his
front room.
So yeah, fair play to him. But yeah, Batch is going to talk us through the predictions, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, as the season goes on, we'll keep doing them, and we'll get a bit of a wager going maybe as the season goes on.
Definitely.
See what the final prediction is and some final scores. So yeah, go for it.
Right, so to kick off the first weekend of the Premier League, we've got the Patrick Vieira derby, Crystal Palace at home to Arsenal.
Wow, I'm going to go a bit left of centre here. I think Selhurst Park, under the lights. I'm going to go Arsenal nerves, Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to go the opposite. I think Arsenal look solid. I think they made some good signings. I think they're going to proper do the business. Put 3 past Palace. I think Palace will get a goal though. 3-1 Arsenal.
I'm with Harry on this one. I think Arsenal are going to put in a statement. Arsenal 3-0.
Right, so now at 12:30 on Saturday, we've got newly promoted Fulham against Liverpool.
I think performance-based, Fulham are going to do much better than people expect, holding their own until probably later on in the game. I'm going Fulham to lose 3-1.
I think Fulham have done some wise business. I think Leno was a great signing they've just made. Will they have enough to beat Liverpool on the day? Don't think so. Will they give a better account of themselves than people think? Yes. I'm going to go with 3-1 to Liverpool.
I think Liverpool will win. I'm going to say Liverpool 2-1, but I do think Fulham will go 1-0 up in the first 5-10 minutes. That's my prediction. We'll come back and win 2-1.
Bonus point there. Mate.
Imagine, yeah.
Okay, so what about Aston Villa travelling down to the south coast, Bournemouth?
Well, I've predicted Bournemouth rock bottom. I've not spoken well of them, but I'm just going to go Villa 1-0.
I think it's been a bit of a flat pre-season for both. Parker's not happy with his squad. Villa putting some really underwhelming performances. I'm going to go with 0-0. I think it's going to be a really shallow game.
I'm going to go 2-0 Villa.
Like that. Next we've got Leeds against Fudges, Wolves.
Strikerless Wolves. One signing all summer. But we haven't had a bad pre-season. It's likely we're going to go into a back 4, possibly without Cody playing.
What is that?
Wow.
I think the 4 at the back, I think he wants 2 bigger centre halves, so it's going to be Collins and Kilman, I imagine. I'm going to back Wolves. I think Leeds are going to be poor. I voiced that opinion as well. But I like to say strikerless Wolves. Wolves 1, Leeds 0.
I think Leeds found a bit of momentum towards the end of last season to keep themselves up just. Lots of new signings for the door, like this Red Bull kind of club link. They brought in Tyler Adams and they brought in that Danish bloke at fullback. I don't know, I think it's going to be a bit of a feel-good thing at Leeds for a bit before they start crumbling. I think they have a good start to the season, so I'm going with 2-0 Leeds.
I think it's got a draw written all over it, to be honest. I'm going to say 1-1.
So next we've got quite a big game. Newcastle at home to newly promoted Forest, obviously on a high from promotion. What do you think?
Forest, obviously lots of signings, new side, probably impossible to predict for the first game, and against another team, difficult to predict in Newcastle. I think this is going to be game of the weekend. Newcastle 3, Forest 3.
I think Newcastle go 1-up early, pure reality check for Forest. No, I think they nailed the game to bed after about 70, 2-0 Newcastle.
I'm going to go Newcastle win as well. I'm going to say 3-0.
Then we've got Southampton taking on the new rebuild of Conte at Spurs.
It's going to be a tight Conte side. It's going to be a structured Conte side. I think Southampton will also be looking to play that same way. I think this could be one for last on match of the day, but I still think possibly Spurs 2, Southampton 0.
I've voiced strongly last couple of weeks how bad I think Southampton are, and how I think they're going down badly. I don't think it's going to be a nice relegation either. I could sit here game week 32 with not looking like a tosser, but I think Spurs comfortable 2-0 winners.
I'm going bold. Big prediction. I think Spurs are going to make a statement, and I'm going to say 4-0.
And then to finish off the Saturday games, we've got Everton at home to Chelsea.
This is what I'm calling the derby of the managers first to be sacked. I think we're looking at Lampard and Tuchel. I think Everton are going to be incredibly poor, but I don't think Chelsea are going to be firing on all cylinders. at Goodison, probably pumped up. Everton won, Chelsea won.
I think Chelsea I think Everton are that bad. Chelsea just did a business through experience. I think Chelsea win 3-0.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to say Chelsea 2-0. I don't think there'll be much changing for Everton soon, to be honest.
Sunday, 2 p.m. We've got Leicester at home to Brentford at the King Power.
Tough one to call again. I think it'll be quite an even game actually. But I'm going to go Leicester 2, Brentford 1.
I think Leicester were that poor, like underwhelming, not poor, but underwhelming last season. Brentford, Thomas Frank's just the guy. He is the guy. I just think, yeah. I always, when I think about Thomas Frank, I think about how upbeat he got the crowd going for the playoff final, the semi-final against Bournemouth. And if he does that again, there's no reason why Brentford can't take it over the line. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Brentford.
Leicester 1-0.
After that, we've got the new era at Man United and Ten Hag against the almost ripped up Brighton side this season.
I think that Brighton, strong team, strong pre-season. They won't have replaced, if Cucurella goes, they won't have replaced him by this game week, which I think is a bit of a hindrance. But I'm going to go for United 1, Brighton 1.
I think Brighton, again, I agree with you. I think they're the kind of team that won't get turned over by United, especially this United side. So I'm going to go with 2-0 Brighton, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'm joining Liam on the draws. I'm going to say 2-2.
Okay, to finish the weekend, we've got Man City travelling away to West Ham, which could be a big game to prove themselves this season.
I think from what we saw on the Charity Shield, Man City are underprepared. They've had a weird pre-season. They're potentially changing their system. West Ham, I think an exciting side, new striker in, looks like the real deal. I'm going to go, there's going to be panic at City to start this season off. West Ham 2, Man City 0.
Wow.
Big call.
Prediction of the week, maybe.
City not to score, that is brave. I can't agree with you. I think City, it's Pep, he's the genius, man. He's not going to let that happen again. What happened at the Community Shield? Alvarez looked like a different monster coming on. He just reminds me so much of Aguero. His stature, obviously not performance-wise yet, but you can tell he's rapid. His stature, he's just a small stubby Argentine. He's going to score goals. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with a City comfortable 3-1 win. I like my 3-1s today.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to be putting in a Celtic opinion. I'm going to say, I'm going to say how it was last time they played 2-2. I think West Ham are going to get something from this game. Why not? Opening game this season.
Got to say, that was hard, and I think this will be a laugh next week if we have time to look back on these.
Man City.
I think they're going to have egg on my face.
If there's any point scored whatsoever.
As a bet, that would be one hell of to get some fantastic odds.
I was just thinking in my head, imagine one of us does a clean sweep and we haven't put a bet on it. We haven't put a bet on it.
I'll be betting on that. I'll be backing that on the bet.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see what happens next week.
As always, guys, thanks for tuning in, watching it, or you listen on Spotify. Well done again to England Lionesses on their success, and football, Premier League football starting again. It's coming back Friday night, Arsenal Crystal Palace. Enjoy your weekends, guys.
Can't wait.
See you next week.
Appreciate it. See you next week.